You know, I guess I would say that I was sort of a slut during that period of time. I mean, I would spend most of my time trying to pick up women, picking up women, and sleeping with them. But the weird thing about it is that I started to think that I was entitled to sex. I mean, I would put some moves on a girl, buy her a few drinks, and usually she was willing to sleep with me. I mean, sometimes it took a little more than that, but actually I would do just about anything to get them into bed with me. And I might see them again. I mean, if the sex was good, but I always got bored. Sometimes it was so easy to gain their trust. I mean, they would fully confide in me, and then that's when I would blow them off. Yeah. I was pretty cruel to women. One night, I went to a bar with some friends, and I was scamming for prospects as usual. And we'd been drinking pretty hard before we got there. And I felt good, real good. I mean, I had a job that paid well, plenty of free time. And throughout the night, I remained like in control. I felt invincible, totally immune to rejection. Whatever I wanted, I was going to take, and nothing could stop me. Nothing. I met her at the bar. She was pretty hot, you know, and she was from out of town. And I wanted to do her from the start. She didn't know much about the city, so we started to talk, and I could tell that she'd been drinking pretty hard before I got there. And we had about 3 drinks together, and I could tell that the alcohol was loosening her up, you know, getting a little more vulnerable. And I convinced her that I was really interested in her, that I really cared for her. Alcohol helps the situation out. And we were getting pretty close. And, you know, some body language stuff. We were rubbing thighs together. We were giggling at each other's stupid jokes. And, you know, my arm brushed against her breast. I mean, it was working. I was getting to her, you know. And the more I drank, the more confident I became that I was going to get laid. So I asked her if she wanted to go out and get some fresh air. And, you know, I told her, I said, well, you know, let's go for a little walk, and then I'll bring you back to the bar, or I'll take you where you're staying, you know? And she believed every word I said. And when we left together, I assumed that it meant that she was going to sleep with me. And it's exactly that kind of assumption that leads to date rape. I mean, she didn't know. She had no idea that I wanted to sleep with her. I mean, yeah, sure, we'd been messing around. I mean, it was obvious that we were attracted to each other, but she had, I mean, it wasn't clear, you know? We hadn't talked about it. But to me, from my point of view, it was a given. I mean, why else would I leave the bar with her? I mean, if she wasn't going to sleep with me, I would much rather stayed at the bar and tried my hand at someone else and, you know, and had some more drinks. I mean, so it was understood on my part that we were going to sleep together. But that understanding was not mutual. You know, I always had a hidden agenda when it came to women. I mean, I would do anything I could to seduce them. I would play the sensitive guy, you know. I would use empathy, humor, understanding, even my deepest secrets to get them on my side. And this time I just used the fact that she was drunk and she didn't know where she was at. You know, she didn't know the city. And once I had her out of the bar, she had no friends to help her. no one to call, nowhere to go except where I wanted her to go. So anyway, we started walking, and she asked me where we were going, and I said, we're just walking, you know, no big deal. And all the time we were headed, you know, towards my place. And we stopped every once in a while, and we were making out, pretty heavy, messing around. And one of these times I asked her if she would come back to my place, and she refused. And you know, I gave her the guilt trip, right? Well, hey, come on, what do you mean, no? You don't leave a bar with a guy and not sleep with him. I mean, come on. That's the way we do things here, don't you know that? But she still refused. So, you know, but I could tell that I was getting to her, that I was influencing her. And we walked some more and made out some more, and all the time getting closer to my place. And finally, we got to my place, and I asked her again if she would come up. And again, she said no. And I said, come on, you know, just come up to my place for a second. I just want to show it to you, you know, just a few minutes, and then we'll go back down, and I'll take you back to the bar. And she agreed, you know. And I congratulated myself on the brilliant self. I mean, to talk like that, to use language like I did, is abusive and irresponsible. I mean, and I know that there's some guys out there going to say, well, so what, man? That's what we do. That's how we get, you know, women to do what we want them to do. But hey, you know, I took advantage of someone's innocence, and the really messed up part about it is that I didn't realize. I mean, I was so confident that I could manipulate her that I didn't realize where the seduction ended and where the abusive behavior began. I didn't realize that what I did was rape. I didn't realize that. I mean, I would say, hey, she deserved it, right? If she's that stupid, if she's that gullible enough to fall for that line, then I am not responsible. But I am responsible. I know that I can make some people, certain people, do what I want by talking a certain way, by shaping my speech, by charging it with emotion, you know. I mean, we all know that. I mean, not necessarily consciously, but we know that. Anyway, so we get up to my place, and I start kissing her. But this time, she didn't respond like she did before, you know. So I asked her what was wrong, and she didn't say anything. She just kind of like looked past me. So I got a little more aggressive, and I put my hand under her shirt and started rubbing her thighs, whatever, and still no response. I mean, I felt like I was fondling a rag doll, but hey, you know, what did I care, right? I didn't need any response to get what I wanted, so I tried to get her shirt off. And she, you know, she locked her arms. And I just pulled and forced until I got it off. And if the rape didn't start when I was messing with her head, when I was verbally manipulating her, then it was certainly starting now. I mean, I wasn't using a knife or a gun or my fists. I mean, I was using my strength. And the fact that she didn't know where she was at, where was she going to go? I mean, that was to my advantage. And I completely disregarded her signals to stop, which were pretty clear. Pretty clear. At the time, I just saw her as a giver of sex, and that was it. And we had sex, or I should say I had sex. And it lasted about a minute, and it was over. And I felt unsatisfied. And I wanted her to leave. I mean, it was primal, man, you know? I hate what I did to her. But I can't change it. You know, I can't change it. But I know now what I did to her was rape. And I just hope that by talking about it, by telling other people this, that I can help change, help stop this kind of violence.